Welcome to Still Talking Uncut. Happy St. Patty's Day. I'm your boy Big Easy, joined by special guests. I'm introducing the guest first tonight. My man, Mr. Vaughn Davis from Schoolhouse Farms out in Rockford, Ohio. Man, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me tonight.
Always, we joined tonight by not Sean Rixby. He on, fatherly duties. We give him that one tonight. 2 weeks in a row, Mr. No Show. So we got the host of AAM, Uncle Joey, and my man in the bottom right hand corner, Mr. LeMasters. How you doing? We appreciate y'all joining us. If you ain't with us tonight and you're out at the bar, have a great time. If you just got back from the bar, chill back and we're gonna have a good time. So,
if you're still there, though, be safe.
Yes, sir.
We want you back next week.
So, I was very safe. I got to ride back, and here I am now. So yeah, we're good.
Oh yeah,
we helped Vaughn in this night a little early, so you're welcome, Vaughn. We always start the show out. What you drinking on? I know Vaughn's drinking on some Gatorade over here. He's got an early morning, so we won't ask you, Uncle Joey. What was in that pouch you was sipping on?
I got me a little adult juicy juice pouch that I stopped over to Sean's and helped him do a little something over there.
Is that my pineapple rye?
Yeah, that's yours too. That's your pouch of pineapple rye. Moonshiner Chad nailed him to Sean. 120 proof pineapple rye. I'm gonna tell you what, man. It's actually pretty good. It's 120, but it really don't feel 120. The rye punches you, but it's not overbearing. It's got a nice flavor, man.
What a piece of shit Sean is. I don't show up one time and he gives my liquor away.
That's all right.
Uncle Jay, you guys, you know what the perfect drink is for me? Just while you're talking about pineapple here. So a really, really good vodka, some elderberry liqueur, some tonic, some pineapple, and some Luxardo cherries. And I'm going to tell you why that's the perfect drink. One, the tonic reduces swelling if you got gout. The pineapple gets rid of scurvy. It's a huge problem in North America here in
right
2025. The vodka, kills viruses and bacteria, right? Elderberry gives it just that nice fruity flavor, and the water and the rest of it is for hydration. So it's really the perfect drink. So I think down there, Joey, you got the beginnings of one of the most perfect drinks in America right now.
It's a health drink, so drink more.
I've been to many places, and I convinced them you need to serve the Vaughn, and I could walk into at least 3 places now across America. Go, I want a Vaughn, and that's what I get. So there you go.
Very interesting drink. I'll have to have you send me that recipe, and I'll have.
I was going to say I'm going to hit you up, so I had that written down.
I'm happy to help you guys out. I mean,
where can we walk in and get a Vaughn?
Yeah.
You can get a Vaughn up in Newmarket, New Hampshire. You can get a Vaughn at the Admiral's Club in the Boston Airport, and I don't know. There's got to be at least one other place.
All right.
Yeah,
the traveling man getting the airport to make him drinks.
I think the Speakeasy, Salida, Ohio. You could probably get one of those too.
Next time I come out to Rockford, we'll have to go somewhere that can make it for us.
We can do that. I also want to say, I know you guys like bourbon. The best bourbon selection in Western Ohio is at the Speakeasy in Saline, Ohio. It's the best bourbon selection in a 250-mile radius. I kid you not.
Nice.
Yep.
Might have to make an afternoon trip. Come see you and go drink some bourbon.
We should. I mean, the Big East came out, but we got stuck at a brewery there in Rockford because Sturge was drinking his ass off.
I made a trip out with the AAW boys.
What was the other one doing?
He was trying to pick up women who I sent pictures later. I was like, if you need pick up women, just talk to me.
He was trying. I'll give him that. He was trying.
He was trying. It didn't work.
To no avail. But
I sent him pictures on the way home. I said, if this is what you wanted, this is what I got for you.
So, we pick up some grain and, Vaughn's like, hey, man, you guys want to come over to the local brewery? I'll buy you a beer. And, I'm never want to turn down a drink, whether it's from a jar, or whatever, And Hollywood ain't here tonight, Daniel. And so we go over and, boy, they just start hammering. And, I'm a slow drinking fella. The first one goes down fast. And then after that, I maintain it really well. and I kind of knew like somebody had to drive us home.
You already saw what those boys were into.
Yeah, I know what they're all about. And so, did you see that, Dylan? Did you get her number for him? So
It's funny you say you drink slow because
it was.
I handed Big Easy 2 beers and I turned around and they were both gone. So I don't
Well,
know.
the
about
first
them.
couple go down fast. You got to wet it. The first couple wet it. And after that,
yeah,
you know, it's.
I got to say, Big E's took it easy. He's like, I got to drive these 2 yahoos home, and
you know, somebody had to be the adult of the group. It might as well be the still talking feller.
You did.
I had to babysit AAW.
Yeah. I went and talked to Amy. I was like, Amy, don't feed that guy any more beers, but these other 2, yeah, as many as you want. So
you know, it was a good time. It was you know, I love little towns like that, and just it was awesome, man. And
yeah,
when I got out here, because I hadn't been out to the farm yet, and it was just beautiful. Like it's just flat. Like when people talk about Ohio and they talk about, oh, it's just flat, you know, they're talking about where he's at. It is just, and it is just beautiful nothingness, you know, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you want hills and valleys, and you go Southern Ohio. If you want it flat, go to northwestern Ohio, you know, that area there, and it's beautiful. So if you ain't ever been out there, take you a drive, and you'll be 1,000,000 miles from nowhere and 10 minutes from everywhere. So,
and right where the sunset is absolutely beautiful, man.
Yeah, it was
right.
Man, I want to come up there. I really, with the weather, it's so hard to gauge, clear, cloudy, whatever. But I'd love to be up there sometime for one of those sunsets, or even the sunrises that you get.
They're both good. I will say that we have our annual festival this year on June 20th through the 22nd, which is Friday through Sunday. We're doing the lavender sunflower. We got fresh beer from the local brewery that Big E's was at.
It was a good time.
You guys should come on up. We're gonna do a distillation grain kind of thing going on. We got our popcorn thing going on. We'll see if we can get a distillery up there. I think it'll be good.
That's different from the one I came up to, or is that kind of a combination of a two festivals?
Yeah, it's gonna be earlier this year, but combination of lavender and sunflowers. Yeah, yes,
nice,
sir.
Awesome.
Yep.
When you say that is
June 20th through the 22nd. So everybody come on up and enjoy.
All right, I'm game. You guys up for a road trip?
Yep. Always up for a good time, and especially up to see Vaughn. It's an interesting ride up there, man. You definitely see rural Ohio, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're going to do some cleaning grain demonstrations. We'll probably do some piano playing in the school with me. Be a lot of stuff going on. I think everybody should have a good time.
Well, I know the festival I came up to was a really neat thing. There was a lot of cool stuff going on. Showcased a lot of your products. You had some local products there. I know I walked away with quite a few items, and I think I went back and bought some more of your popcorn at Farm to Bottle because of that. So Vaughn's got some amazing products. If anybody's in the market for oils and popcorns, and you just go to the Schoolhouse Farms website. I'm sure it's got a link to everything he's got. He's got a lot of cool stuff, a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, this year we're going to introduce something new on January 20th. June 20th. Sorry, not January.
January. That's a little cold.
Yeah, St. Patty's Day, the band. What can I say? We've got introducing a whole bunch of sunflower kernel like creams, butters that compete with peanut butter. So we've got sunflower kernel with white chocolate. It's much better than peanut butter. It's so creamy. It's so good. We got sunflower kernel and dates, and we got sunflower kernels dates with dark chocolate. It's fantastic.
Didn't we just hear somebody was talking about making liquor with sunflowers?
I know there's a
Alan Bishop.
There's a company down in Georgia that's making like bourbon out of sunflowers. It's not something I would do because the oil content of sunflowers is so high, like literally 40, 45, 48% what we do. That's just a lot of oil, right? And very little carbs. I guess you could get a little flavoring if you're adding it as an additive to something else, but That's the last thing I would use to make bourbon.
I know we just heard somebody. It wasn't a bourbon.
Alan Bishop was talking last week how he's using sunflowers to make liquor out of. He's got a double thumper system to help remove the oils and all that out of it. So that's really cool.
I'll gladly sell people the kernels and everything like that, but I certainly wouldn't make it the primary ingredient for making it. I like Ohio Blue. That's the main thing.
That's my favorite. The Ohio Blue is definitely one of my favorite.
So let's talk about that. How many different varieties of corn do you grow up there, Vaughn?
Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've got about 18.
Nice.
And what's your largest? What do you have the largest amount of growing?
The largest amount we've probably grown is Bloody Butcher, and mainly because that goes into a couple of malt houses. But the main one we're selling direct in the distilleries that are direct in distilling it is Ohio Blue. That's probably the biggest one, as you guys probably know. So we've got Ohio Blue, we've got Bloody Butcher, we've got Silver King, Hickory King, Argentina Orange,
Oaxaca green.
Oaxaca, the green one. That's
a Mexican strain, I believe.
It is. So we started doing that about 4 or 5 years ago, just to see if that would actually work up here in Ohio, and we've gotten pretty good at it. So we've got a pretty good supply of that.
It's a solid grain. I mean,
it is.
I think I've run pretty much everything you have. You have rye. You offer a rye. Is that a Rosen rye or?
No, it is not a Rosen rye. The biggest rye that we do is a German rye called Serafino, and that the reason we do that is because it has a much higher carb content, so lower protein content. So your alcohol conversion rate's much higher, and to me, the taste that's coming off of that these guys get off stills, at least in commercial distilleries, is just great.
And rye's a tricky feller. How you prep it depends on how strong it is. Some people soak it, some people crack it, some people grind it, some people powderize it. It's all how strong do you want that to punch you in the face?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got Danko as well. We've got just what's called the variety not specified, so VNS, which you have no idea what that is. So we've got VNS, we've got Danko, and we've got Serafino. And if I was to be running a distillery like next year in Indiana, I would be using Serafino.
Nice.
Is that obviously something that's still in your grasp? I know you've talked about it and wanted to do it.
Yeah, I just think if we get away from grain for a little bit here, I just think the state of Ohio and how they treat small distilleries, or at least in terms of distribution, is not very good.
That's rough.
I just think you're much better off going to the next state over. So in my case, I'm only 10 miles from Indiana, so I can still call it local. And what do you want to say? But Indiana, the state tax rate's like 6-7 times less. I don't think you have all the rigmarole that you deal with Ohio in terms of distribution. I think you're almost better off distributing in Ohio, not making it in Ohio. So, I've talked to Fred about this a lot, and some other people, and I just think if I'm going to do this, at the moment, I'm looking at Decatur, Indiana.
Nice.
Okay.
And I'd imagine you don't have to have your place for 2 years before they finally give you a license, like Old Bench is going through, which is insanity.
Yeah.
It's crazy what they do. What they're driving people away. They're driving people to out of state.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ohio is really trying to drive it towards where they only want to deal with large distributors, which are essentially coming out of Kentucky or Tennessee or other just large conglomerates where they can just place one purchase order and get 50 different things. So I understand what they're doing. I just don't think that's very Ohio friendly, if you will. And somebody's not gotten the message through about how that works. And there's some sort of in their public corporation that they got going on about Ohio Works or whatever the hell it's called. But it's certainly not in Ohio's best interest of people that want to actually make stuff in Ohio. That's not how that's all set up. So, yeah, right now I think I would go to any other state other than Ohio that's around there. So,
and it's really too bad that it's come to that, because there's a lot of good guys out there, and I think there's a lot of good guys out there that would love to open up their own place, but because of the way Ohio is, they're not able to. And it's really too bad, because small business is awesome, and local is all, buying local is awesome, and to be able to not have to buy major huge big box liquor and buying it from somebody, like we know all these moonshiners like John Benz. I would love to be able to buy a lot of his stuff, but hell, he can't even get open because of all the hoops and red tape and all the bullshit that Ohio has to, it's sad, man. It really is.
And I think Chris Lewis is lucky that he opened what he did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's to me, it almost seems like they're favoring, from a lobbying standpoint, if you think about the federal government or Ohio, it's almost like if you're already big, they've spent enough money to keep anybody else out, right? Which is too bad, because really we need a lot of small people to try to enter, and whether you're in food, you're in alcohol, and a lot of this has to do with a lot of businesses. So a lot of people large companies spend a large amount of dollars on lobbying, and it's basically to keep competitors out. And I'm really hoping that changes, because
but a tax dollar should be a tax dollar.
If
you may not be getting as much from the small ones, but you're still getting something.
So like, let's say you're like Lay's potato chips. You're like a $18 billion company, and you can afford to lobby in Washington and every state. You're going to say, well, if you want to start making potato chips, you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all these 8 things, which cost like $18 million to be able to do. And therefore, you won't be able to make potato chips. And I think that's really what's going on.
Yeah.
So John, down there in Southeast Ohio, he's running up against that, because these guys in Kentucky and large producers in Ohio, we know who they are. They don't want anybody competing with them. So,
not at all.
They're spending their lobbying dollars to keep other people out. And I think the same things deal with food and other things as well. And I really hope we can figure out a way to change that, because it's really, to me, it's unfair.
I mean, Ohio's doing the same thing to marijuana. The state, we legalized it, and now they're all like, "Oh, wait, hold on, hold on, we're not making enough money off the first deal. We have to revisit this, so we make billions more dollars and drive people to Michigan."
No, I just really think it's set up so that large companies continue to succeed at the expense of not letting anybody else in. And you could say that's to food, whether it's alcohol, whether it's marijuana, whether it's a lot of things. I think it's the same. So, I mean, let's just say that you and I had an idea that we could make really good toothpaste. Do you think we could really set up to be able to do that? And the answer is no. It would be damn near impossible to be able to do that.
They bleed us out before we even get started,
Right. They run you out of money before you can ever make your first tube.
It's a shame, man, because like I said, Bence is a great guy. He's already put a lot of hard work in that building. He's down there, he's ready. From what it looks like, John's ready, and now he's just got to sit and wait.
Wait,
and like you said, bleed him dry, man.
That's what they try to do.
Yep. It just seems like if you're large and you can spend money, you can keep other people out, and that's
it's pay to play.
That's not right. That's not what lobbying should be for.
They pretty much run him through the ringer already. I mean,
the
stories he's told.
I'm thinking Indiana, West Virginia, anywhere but here. Ohio, that is.
I like your idea about Indiana, man. Keeping at least semi close. It's not hatefully far away, even for you. You said 10 miles from the border. So how far would Decatur be from you?
It's an easy 20-minute drive.
Yeah, so there you go.
And it's flat, so it's just It's not like down in the hills where it's like,
I know I've known you for a couple years now, and I know you had that spark and that interest from one of the very first conversations that we had. You were interested and intrigued about opening up your own place, and I hope you succeed with it, man. I bet you could do a good job. You seem like a good businessman. Like you know what you're doing and you know what you want to make. I think you've already got it figured out. If you open a distillery, what you want to make and how you want to go about it. So I think it's going to be awesome if you end up doing that.
I definitely know what we want to make. It's just a question of how you get it done, right? And
right.
And Ohio right now is not a very welcoming place. I would definitely not do it here.
It's too bad.
As much as I would like to, I think the red tape, if whatever you want to call it, it's just too much to overcome.
Yeah, sounds like a smart move.
It's unfortunate, but
yeah.
It is what it is.
That red barn up front in our little setup there would be perfect for it. But if you can't actually, distribute it, then why do it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you do distribute it, like you make so little off your liquor that it's almost not worth you doing unless you're selling it thousands of gallons at a time, or things like that. Like, or, you're real big, or if it's a side thing, it's just like, is it a hobby? Like, if it's a hobby, you could legit run a distillery in Ohio.
Yep.
If it's a side thing and not your main thing, you could probably get by. But nobody, you're in it to make money. You're making liquor to make money, so. Yeah,
so my big thing is we Beth and I love to drink vodka. I must admit that. And to do that legally at some point in the process, you got to get about 195 ABV.
It's got to come off at 190.
Right.
At one point in time, it has to come off at 190.
So
it's usually at the beginning.
So we worked with this last semester out in Colorado. I was a academic advisor for a couple of groups in the chemical engineering department. We developed a couple of different distillation processes. One of them was a vacuum distillation, which is kind of fascinating, and that's really what I want to do. Mainly because your energy inputs on the bottom end are lower, and if you end up doing a like a bourbon, because you're lowering the pressure in the column, you could actually get a lot more of the taste components from a lot of the corn that we make, right? So if you want to include like an Ohio Blue or a Bloody Butcher or even some of the more esoteric things we do, you can end up with a lot more of the taste components in there because your pressure is lower in that column. And that's really kind of what I want to do. And knowing that if you put it in the barrel, you're probably 3 to 7 years out from actually making any money off that. So in the meantime, you got to be selling clear liquor, so vodka, gin, that kind of thing, and
flavored alcohol.
Yeah,
what ladies like.
Yep. So, I'm really thinking the place to do that is really across the board, like Taco Bell, right? So, you just got to get out of Ohio if you want to make this a go of it. So I'm just thinking Decatur, Indiana is probably the place to make that happen.
Nice.
Well, awesome.
Well, how'd you get started? Like, was this a family thing?
No, that's actually a good question. So I was born in Berkshire County, Saline, Ohio, back in a long time ago in 1966.
For 1966.
It was keeping track of the math. I just had a birthday recently on March 6th. So
nice. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm 59 if my math is right. But so I went off and I graduated from Troy High School. A lot of you know where Troy, Ohio is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Back in '84, and I went down to Vanderbilt in Nashville in Tennessee and studied chemical engineering, and I did follow that career path. So I've been a chemical engineer since '88, my whole life. I've been all over the world. I've lived in multiple states as a career in chemical engineering, part of which involves distillation, separation processes, that sort of thing. But then I got into high-tech instrumentation around I was living in the UK back in 1999 through 2001. And I got into laser-induced breakdown spectroscopy. I got into nuclear magnetic resonance, which is like an MRI at a hospital, except for spectroscopy use for analyzing like chemical streams for what the heck is in them. we did a management buyout of a firm in the UK in 2002, back in the North Shore of Boston. And we ran that. And back in 2014, I had been living in seat 2A on American Airlines for 15 years, and it was really getting out of hand. And a variety of things happened, and I didn't do that anymore. And it was probably saved my life in many ways. And I was like, what am I going to do? What can I do? And my friend Beth, who I run Schoolhouse Farms with, said, "Hey, can you grow sunflowers?" And being an overconfident ass, I said, "Sure, I can grow anything." And so
put a seed in the ground and let it water it. It just grows.
Our first crop was black oil sunflowers for birdseed back in 2016. And it was at like 2 or 3 acres. We had no idea what we were doing. My dad said, "We're never doing this ever again under any circumstances." And we sold out that, like 2 or 3 hours. It was amazing. It was great. So she and I started Schoolhouse Farms in 2016, and we started in black oil sunflowers. We both like to drink vodka. We got into distillation grains. We sold to a big distillery in York, Maine. And we now have 85 different products, believe it or not. Popcorn, distillation grains, sunflower oils, popcorn, roasted sunflower kernels. We have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's
growth.
So that 2 to 3 acres we grew in 2016 eventually became almost 160 acres of sunflowers not that many years later.
Wow.
We've since moderated that back because from a monetary standpoint, popcorn distillation grains actually make a little bit more money. But we started in sunflowers. We will always have sunflowers. And first off, they're beautiful. And we're now pressing sunflower oil, which is very good. It's very healthy for you.
And yours is amazing.
I couldn't remember what you asked me how I started this whole thing, but I started in chemical engineering. I got into, my background's been ag my whole life. My farm, my great grandfathers farmed. My father had this farm, and he has gratefully let me do what we need to do to get started. I can't thank him enough, and it's been great. And hopefully I can honor him by continuing on and doing a great job at doing this. So that's where we're at. And I just love growing things because it's something you can do with your hands. You can see what you're doing. And every year you can take, I was successful, I was not successful. When you're cleaning grain, you can tell what you're doing. It's one of those things that you can get satisfaction by knowing that you did something. You can see the end product. You can see what people do with it. You can taste it, eat it, whatever. And it just brings me a great deal and joy of satisfaction of seeing what people can do, enjoy what we do, come out to the farm and visit. It's just really, really awesome kind of feeling.
There's nothing like seeing somebody enjoy something you made, like genuinely enjoy what you made. It makes you feel good about yourself.
And I think the other thing is I actually believe in what I'm doing and I enjoy what I'm doing. There's no like moral compromise when I get up in the morning, like, oh geez, do I not pay this bill or do I not pay this? I have none of that. I literally enjoy what I do every day and it's enjoyable. And when you guys came up just a couple weeks ago, literally that was one of the best days I've had in the last 6 months. I just really enjoyed sharing what we were doing and showing you the small town. And we supply that brewery with some stuff, and that's just what life is about, is sharing what you're doing and having other people enjoying that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Not as much as American whiskey did, but I did enjoy myself.
So those two guys clearly enjoyed themselves, and I'm glad you drove them back.
It was a good trip, man. I enjoyed riding up with them. We talked a lot of liquor, and it was a good time, man. So
the size of the farm that you have right now, is that the size that when you took over, or is it bigger now? Have you expanded since you've taken over?
No, it's the same size. It's the same size, and we don't even use all the acreage for what I am kind of involved in.
Right.
going forward, I can see that most of the acreage will be involved in. A lot of it will be involved in popcorn. Actually, that's going really, really well, and I could see ourselves being the first or second in terms of tiered suppliers of mushroom popcorn in the United States. Which means that we don't need to grow it all. We probably become the processor, if you will, and we get other people contracting and sort of growing it. But that's going really well, and I just kind of want to keep that going on. And then my passion, though, is in this experimentation phase for sort of the heirloom corn. I love that kind of thing. I really, really do. But the fact of the matter remains is that the market for that kind of grain is extremely small. So. I talk about it a lot. There's a few people using it, but the pounds they use is relatively, really, really minor. It's not something you're going to make, money at. And so that's one reason I'm looking at that distillery is because I can be the user of that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of places it's a secondary grain, like heirloom corn. It's a secondary grain. They don't use it as their main. I believe one of the main places that use it as their main is Pabst. Chris Lewis down there. He does his red, white, and blue with it. The Ohio Blue and the Bloody Butcher, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on how he does it, but I know he uses a lot of heirloom grains in his, and you can really tell in the quality of his product that he uses a lot of heirloom grains.
He does, and Seven Brothers up there in Ashtabula County, who you're talking to in terms of Kevin. He also uses a lot of Ohio Blue, and the reality is that's about it. Yeah, there's other guys that buy. Big E's, you guys buy, some stuff for me. Tracy buys some stuff for me down in Tennessee, and I'm so late on giving what he needs. It's almost embarrassing, but the popcorn business has been quite good. And but the corn's been a little wet. I got to dry it down. I don't want to give anything out there that's not perfect, if you will. And it kind of bugs me that I can't do everything like that immediately. It's one of my issues I have, but I will not. I really, really, really try not to send out anything that's a bunch of crap. So
understandable.
I just want to make sure that's exactly right. But the reality is that market for heirloom corn is, quite frankly, not very big.
Yeah, and you do a 2-row barley, right? Not a 6-row.
Yeah, it's 2-row. Yep.
And a lot more breweries. A lot more 2-row is used as opposed to a 6-row. 6-row is mainly for converting grains for distillation. You see a lot more 2 in beer. So
it is, and the issue is the reason why 6-row is almost, I won't say it's going away, but one of the reasons why you see less and less of it is the yield per acre is just not there. It's just not as good as 2-row. So if you're a farmer, your return on investment for 2-row is far higher than 6, but no one wants to pay you twice as much for a 6 as a 2-row.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
And like, using that barley to convert your grains it can be challenging, especially for beginners. And you see these liquid amylases taking over all of a sudden. And a lot less people are using barley. They're just using liquid. And they're
makes it easy for us dumb guys.
it makes it super simple. So I could see where 6-row is it's a grain that's very rarely being used anymore. So
yeah, I will say one of the business lines that we'd really like to do going forward is malting. But as you know, the craft brewing industry is taking a dive. I would say even distilling is bourbon also taking a dive. So I'm not sure it's a good time to invest in that, but usually when it's going down, it's probably a good time. So maybe 2026 is a good year to actually start that kind of operation. I don't know, but that is something that we want to do because malting grain, whether it's rye, wheat, corn, gives you that sugar, right? That can be useful in terms of instead of using the alpha amylase.
Yeah, it's readily available. Like it's readily available.
And it's all natural, and
it.
you grew it, right? So, yeah.
Let nature do that work for you. It's always going to taste better when nature does it. That's why I enjoy honey so much.
But once again, you got to have customers for that. They're willing to pay for it, and
it's a small amount. It's just like I don't, you don't hear people malting because so few people deal with it, and so
And I know there's a lot of people
money.
that are in the sort of what you would call the moonshine community that do their own malting, and I congratulate all of them for doing that. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, and it's like an art combined with science, right? But even then, it's just not that big of a market, So it's just another reason I want to start my own distillery.
Right. I mean, if you're doing everything else, what I'm saying, you're able to grow the select grains you want. You're able to pick and choose from your grains, and so.
And that would be pretty neat. The whole concept, you would be a very true farm to bottle or to glass or to however you are true meaning of that. The farmer, the distiller, the producer.
And it's a story. It's a story. Start here, see where it comes from, and
and marketing stories actually work, or usually they work. But we'd be one of like 5 or 6 distilleries that grow, malt, distill, and distribute everything. That is very, very rare right now.
Yeah, that whole aspect alone is just a respectable, in itself that you guys are covering the whole process.
Tell me you wouldn't stop 20 minutes away and see the farm where the grain's coming from, and then leave from there and head over to the distillery. Like, hell yeah, I'm buying at least 1 jar.
And
I'm
that's one of those things where you could almost, like you said, it's a 20-minute drive, set up possibly like some kind of a tour.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where they stop and see the farm.
Here, farm crawl. Let's do the
farm crawl.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely true.
There's a whole other aspect to that, and then we've got the whole Ohio. The they have a moonshine trail or whatever it is, or what you're right on the edge where you could still get some people that are out and about doing stuff like that. Maybe venture over a little ways.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately Ohio is just not very welcoming for that kind of thing. It's unfortunate, but true.
Now, the craft brewery craze that went on 10 years ago, and they were just everywhere. They just let them open up everywhere.
Popping open like a Family Dollar.
Why not let any guy that wants to take a chance with a small distillery, let him pop open like that without all the crap, and just let him do his thing, and make sure he's doing it safely and he's making a product that won't kill you.
Right.
Make sure he's doing, but go ahead and let us get a chance. You're like, oh, I found a spot. I could pop a still. I mean, come on, man. I could run a still in my living room if I wanted to. It's not advisable, but you can. So let us get a guy. Yeah, let us get a chance. I do know a guy. He's a dumbass, and but let us get a chance. Like all these little craft breweries, like every feller that can make a beer, he opened up a craft brewery, and usually they weren't real great. They were good to the people that make it, just like anything else. So
it's almost like they're afraid that they would have the same thing happen with distilleries. They kind of let all these craft breweries open up, and I think it was overwhelming. And you've seen how many of them have opened and closed and went by the way.
It was a fad. It was a fad. It was a fad. It was big craft brews, all that, and then like he was talking about earlier, it's about that big corporation. They're lobbying to keep these small guys down, and let's be for real, all the beers at these craft beers aren't what Budweiser was making. They're not what it ain't what Anheuser-Busch is making. It was all IPA, hoppy for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Not saying like there aren't some really good craft beers, because when we was over at that brewery,
actually really, really good, but they had no distribution. Distribution in Ohio is the problem.
It was all it was local. Like everything was local. Like people had to come into your little brewery and drink your beer there.
And the only ones that are left are the ones that's got good food. They're restaurants now.
Yeah.
Now the one in Rockford that Big E's went to with the other guys, they had no food, but they have pretty freaking good beer.
I tell you, just I'm not a hoppy IPA dude, and I forget what I had. It was a honey wheat, I believe, and it was nice. Like it wasn't hoppy at all. It was
fuzz. The fuzz.
Yeah, I like wheat. I like honey. Pair them together. So why not?
Wheat's always the go-to.
Yes, I love wheat. Like I love the wheat I get from Vaughn. That winter wheat is it's good wheat. So
yeah, in fact, wheat should be used on almost all distillation. I'm convinced that wheat should be used in all distillations.
Yes, I like the dryness of it, and I'm becoming a fan of oats. I think oats are add a nice smoothness, and I'm a fan of oats.
We're about to try some oats, I believe. I got that blue corn. I'm trying to figure out. I want to add something with that blue corn. I want to do a blue corn and a little something else. I don't know yet.
How about buckwheat?
I haven't done the buckwheat. I did pick up a bag of buckwheat. I had no choice. I was like, hold on, you got buckwheat? Let me get a bag. I told Phil, if you get half, I get half. Like, that's how we're doing this buckwheat. So I'm waiting for it to warm up. I can't ferment nothing because it's got to sit outside. And while it might be 70 one day, it's still it's 30 the next night.
Warming up day to day.
Yeah. So I will say, if you do go out to Schoolhouse Farms, take a windbreaker, because that wind coming down off them lakes will cut you in half.
It's all true.
It's totally worth it. So if you want to fly a kite, there's plenty of space. You could definitely do it. So
absolutely. And Joey, I would add wheat with that blue corn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You could do worse. I think the wheat with the blue corn is actually pretty damn good.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Throw you a nice handful of oats in there. Yeah. I'm all about a handful of oats. Just a little handful of oats will do it up just fine.
Handful of oats.
Like a
horse. Might be your new slogan.
That's right. A handful of oats. Like I said, I'm a real big fan of the blue corn. It's one of my favorites. It's not as earthy, it's not as oily as the other heirlooms like the reds, and I find the reds will be a little more oily, and like the green to me is a little more earthy.
Yep.
I do like the Argentine orange. I like that like orangey sweetness that you get from it.
Yep.
In my opinion, the white corn is good for making a vodka because it's almost flavorless, and it has its own characteristics.
You and Tito's.
I guarantee mine would taste better.
Yeah, exactly. They've done a great job of marketing, though, right?
They have. It is definitely, it's grainy.
The Wapsie Valley and Minnesota 13, I think, are actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm. The Wapsies, it's real complex. There's like a lot going on in there.
There is,
which mellows everything out really well.
Yep.
Somebody that made a vodka that kind of surprised me is Old Buffalo Trace, that Wheatley. That's actually not a cheap, low end, not a bad vodka.
Haven't had that, Uncle Joey.
Yeah, I grabbed a bottle. They sell it around here. It's only like $19 or $22 a bottle. It's really it's a clean vodka.
They sell it around you because they got a big corporate entity behind them. They can sell it anywhere in Ohio.
That's right.
Anywhere in Ohio. We had a local distillery. They were trying to run a vodka through their pot still that they run so much grain liquor for that it was coming out with a corny taste, and their customers were telling them it was tasting like Tito's, and he couldn't figure out why. And then finally we was like, man, have you ever run anything else other than that? He's like, a little bit of this, and you run so much corn through a still, man, you're not going to pull a flavorless liquor through it. That's just the way it is. So, he moved on to a different still with columns, and then his vodka didn't taste like corn anymore. So,
it's the way to go. Yep.
And that's a whole other story in itself. But
it is a whole other story. So, but I just, I just want to throw it out there that way. It happens.
No, it's very true, though. So, those pot stills, they can convey lots of taste into anything that you want to do after that, right?
So, when we was down at Pap's, I was talking to Chris about, hey, man, if you're going to do a brandy, because he's opening that big, nice expansion, they're building down there. I was like, dude, if you're going to do a brandy, you should just have a brandy still that you only do fruit on. You don't want to be mixing it with your grains. And if you're going to buy other stills, you should only do, if you're going to run rum, like you need a rum still, because everything you run after that's just going to taste like rum. And instead of fighting it, trying to clean it and all that. So if you're big enough and you have the ability, and the best thing about that is like, I do small, like if you're a distillery and say you do small runs, like small batches of rum, like say you run 50 gallons, like really small, then you could have a small rum still and things like that. So If not, then make sure you clean your shit really well in between.
Yeah, the problem with anything small stills is that your economies of scale just kind of go to crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once again, Ohio, just not good for those kind of things.
We're talking about the other 49 where it might not be so bad.
So
I'm
with
sure.
saying that, so you've obviously done quite a bit of research and homework on the out of state venture. So it's definitely something that well worth leaving the state.
I think so. At this point in time, yeah.
That's
Ohio
crazy.
is not very welcoming if you want to open a distillery, and John could be one of your primary test cases for explaining that. But
anybody you talk to, like anybody who has a distillery,
anybody that I've talked to is like, oh, geez, never started here. Now it could be that they're telling me we don't want a competitor, but no, I think they're honestly saying, why would you do this?
Yeah.
And I should probably talk to some state reps. Maybe, I don't know. I think they would, lie, but
unless you handed them money first,
what?
Then they might, then they might tell you the truth if you give them the money first.
Is a politician lying? Are they talking? Yes.
You're right.
Yeah. No, I just think I'm just leaning toward Indiana right now because it's just very close to the farm. It's literally I could shoot a 270 Magnum and hit Indiana, so it's pretty close.
Hell yeah!
I drive over to Indiana because it's 30 minutes down 70 for me.
Right.
Because their liquor selection is just so much better there.
Yeah.
Than
I wonder why.
The liquor stores there.
Right.
It was the first place, like back when it was the first place you could get the southern alcohols. I can't get it here. You got to go over here, and
so Ohio's got that interesting deal where they've got that quasi public private company running liquor distribution, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knows what the finances are, and everybody's asking. Nobody can find out. So I just think Indiana's the way to go. That's all I'm saying.
You wouldn't be talking about OHLQ, would you?
I might be, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, they're
it's a prime example of when you let the government run shit.
And it's just crazy, man. Like I don't chase it like I used to, but I was a big bourbon chaser there for a while. And they've got that stupid website of theirs, and it's the most unreliable, most unupdated website. And if you try to chase bourbon using their site, you're an idiot because they don't update it. You go into places and they'll say, we haven't had a bottle of that in 5 years. I'm like, well, the website says they've got it. They said, honey, that website's been wrong for 5 years. So
yeah,
it's ridiculous. A company that's making that much money can't do something as simple as keep their stock updated on their website that they have it. It's their site and they can't even manage it properly.
And yet that's the same business that you want to distribute your alcohol in Ohio. Right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I know Chris Lewis that down at Pabst Hilltop, he's got some jars about to come out here in Springfield, and they're only giving him 2 jars. He can put 2 jars on the shelf. And it's just crazy, man. The amount of liquor that he has, and he can only put 2 of his bottles on a shelf here.
In state. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's trying to sell them in Tennessee or trying to peddle it over in Missouri or anything like that. Like
he would have better luck peddling it in Missouri than he would in Ohio. I guarantee it.
That's crazy. That it's you can sell your jar you could get your jar in a store out of state faster than you can get it in state. It's insane to me. But that's why. They're going to do what they're going to do. So they're going to drive people to Indiana.
I think that's probably one of the reasons he's come up with all this different flavored stuff that he sells right out in Bainbridge, because he's got to sell what he has. And the only way he can sell everything he has is right there at the store that he's got.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he's reusing his Knock 'em Stiff for his flavors.
Yeah.
And so, he already has that formula approved.
Yep.
It's like earlier we was talking about people buying GNS and just flavoring it and getting easy labels and things like that because everything's already it's easy. So I could see why, and that's what sells. old girl said, you know, if a lady will drink it, a fella will buy it. So you know, that's just the way it is. That's marketing. That's how you sell shit.
Absolutely. And it's just you know, sad. We won't solve the world's problems tonight, but yeah, it's no, I just think trying to open a distillery in Ohio and sell in Ohio is, you'd be better off opening a large distillery in Indiana and selling in Ohio. You'd have better luck.
Right. Absolutely.
You'd
Probably make more money.
You'd make a hell of a lot more money. You're right, Matt. You'd make a hell of a lot more money.
I mean, that's what I've determined. I don't know if I'm right, but I'm pretty sure I am.
I've talked to my buddy over in West Virginia, like, bro, how easy? He's like, bro, it's easy to open. You just need a pad. You need a concrete pad in a building. You could open a distillery. Like, damn, man, you're only 3 hours away. Like,
yeah.
You
know, Indiana, Maryland, Michigan, anywhere but here.
So you farm here and you spend most of your time here in Ohio?
So everything is farmed, if you will, or grown in Ohio. Yep. I probably spend about 50 to 60% of my time in Ohio, and the balance of the time outside of Ohio. Most of that would be in New Hampshire or Maine. So
he's an East Coast feller.
Well, I'm from Saline, Ohio originally, which is there in Mercer County. Graduated from Troy High School, near all you guys. My wife works in Dover, New Hampshire, and she would like to see me every now and then, as it turns out.
It's wild, huh? When you're around them, they don't want to see you, but you ain't around them, they want to see you.
Totally wild. So I try to accommodate that as much as I can. So
it's understandable.
Yeah,
you got to have a happy home life as well.
Yeah,
and it sounds, you know, you enjoy what you do so much. It probably helps that home life. You know, you're happy. You know, you don't dread what you do. You love what you do.
I absolutely love what I do. And then Beth, my business partner, she lives in Maine, and then we operate out of this 1870s mill building on the border of Maine and New Hampshire, right on the Salmon Falls River. It's absolutely gorgeous. So we run all of the anything that's like 10 pounds and under is done out of that building. So all the roasting, the oils, the internet business, that's all done out of there. So if I'm not at the farm, I'm in that mill building up there and up in Somersworth, New Hampshire. Nice. I met her when we moved back from Oxford, England back in 2001. So I've known Beth now 24 years. And next month I've been married 34 years. So I got this thing for 24 and 34 this year anyway. But
congratulations.
Yeah, no, it's working out well. And yeah, so we grow in Ohio. We do a lot of the processing up in New Hampshire. If my wife didn't live there, I probably wouldn't be there, but that's where I end up being a lot of if I'm not in Ohio, that's where I'm at.
Nice.
Like I said, back in the old days, prior to Squaws Farms, I used to live on an airplane. I was all over the world. So I've been in 50 states, 39 countries, 6 continents, and I've swam in every ocean. So I was gone a lot, and it just got really, really old. And I love being back in ag. It's just what I've enjoyed. I just love it. It's to me, it's not even like working. I mean, it is work, but I just do stuff that I love now, and it's I hope that shows. I just absolutely love what I do. So
yeah, we could tell. Say, man, you make a fantastic product. So thank you for what you do. So keep doing it.
Yeah,
and I'll definitely, you got a customer for life here. So
yeah, and I know I know Phil texted me today. Hey, when can we get the stuff? Well, hopefully tomorrow or the next day. But we'll
whenever. So.
It's Phil.
Something happens. We'll figure it out. So
it's all right. Phil. Yeah, it's Phil.
It's all good. I know Uncle Joey's like, oh man, I'm getting my corn from Vaughn now. Yeah, I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you. If you can make the trip,
yep,
go get it.
It's worth it. Listen, if nothing else, it gives you gives anybody who's ever been up there, gives you an excuse to go back up. Yeah, Vaughn's a cool ass dude. If you're lucky, who might even play the piano for you.
You see, I missed that part.
He's going to tell you some jokes.
I wish I could have stayed longer.
They may not be the best jokes, but he's going to tell you some jokes. And he might play the piano for you. And the little schoolhouse. Listen, the little schoolhouse there, man, that looks like everything happens in that building, dude. It looks like that is like the mecca of what you are is inside that building right there. Everything happens in there.
It does. It was built in 1862, and we restored it, and that's literally where I live when I'm there.
It looks like it. There's everything there. You could tell where you had worked on projects. You had your little work area. I saw your little bed area. There was a little kitchen area. You could tell everything you do is inside those walls, and that was a really cool thing.
Everything.
And
I got to get up there.
If you want to talk Vanderbilt football, Vaughn's your guy.
Oh yeah,
he's your guy. You want to talk Vanderbilt football?
Hey, Vandy usually has one hell of a baseball team too.
Hey, man,
we got a great baseball team. And actually, the basketball team made the NCAA tournament this year.
Nice.
We're at 10 seed. We play St. Mary's College on Friday at 3:15. Not that
it is March Madness time.
I'll be watching.
Yeah, right.
We got the first four. You go see North Carolina and Texas play. Xavier's playing.
Yep.
In the first four, right at UD Arena.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Tomorrow and Wednesday, I believe, are the 4 games.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, we won't keep you on here any late. We know you got an early morning.
Hey, just remember, good moms let you lick the beaters. Good moms turn them off first.
You and your details.
Oh shit! Hey, if you ever want to know where there's some good tacos, this man up here.
I love a good taco. As maybe many people know that. I don't know, but I love a good taco, and I always love commenting on Billy's or his wife's post about tacos. So
yep.
But you guys always crack me up when you start on that. I love it.
Well, listen, if you open a distillery, you've got to have a taco truck there.
Tacos.
So the next time there's a taco truck up in Rockford, I'm inviting you guys up because
there you go. There you go.
It's only like an hour away. I bet it ain't but about 30, 40 minutes away from Matt.
Yeah, it probably ain't that far from Matt.
Right? I bet not. So
it's probably an hour.
It's probably about an hour. It's not that far.
Yeah. It's probably an hour.
Well, we appreciate you coming
talk
on,
to you guys all night. So
we could sit here and shoot the shit all night. So
I just love talking about these topics, and
it's always good to shoot the shit with like-minded people. Like it's kind of like your American Honky Tonk Bar Association. You can walk in here and have you a drink and just discuss how you feel about things. And you get good feedback, and some of it's ain't great feedback, but it's still all right.
So what is your guys feeling on the whole? If you're a distillery, can you just selling other people's stuff? Is that a real distillery, or how can you be called that?
If you don't run a still in your distillery, there's no way, in my opinion, you could call yourself a distillery. Like you're
Ohio lets you do that, right?
They do.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a money thing. If you have the right dollars, you can pay for the right licensing that allows you to call yourself a distillery, even though you don't make a damn drop of liquor inside your establishment. It's
a business. It's not a distillery.
Yeah, it's a blendillery.
Yeah.
It's a blendillery.
Yeah, it's like a blender, right? Or I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a disappointment if say you're trying to plan a trip, you're trying to get away for the weekend, and you jump on Google, you jump on the internet, and you see distillery, you show up, and they're not making a damn thing there.
Or you go in, there's no still to look at.
Yeah,
like that. There's no or they're like you could tell, like, man, that thing hasn't ever been used. Like.
Right.
Like there's a big distillery down south that you go in and the still's got to be a $30,000-$40,000 still. They've never used it. You know what I'm saying? They had to go get a small still just to run vodka on, just so they could say they're a distillery.
And how many times have you said it easy? Even a local, somebody like us, that first drip off the worm.
Yep.
That's a newborn baby.
Yeah.
We're a dad again.
Every time.
It's the same thing. You go in there and there's nothing there. It's like,
Like, you walk into Hatfield Distillery over in West Virginia, or you go down to Pat's, they're running. And he's like, "Yep, liquor coming out right there." And you're just like, "Yep, they're running liquor, man."
Listen, Chris invited me down. He'll do it again. Hey, come on down. We're going to run Saturday. Come down and hang out. I went down there and hung out with Chris for 4, 5, 6 hours while they've ran all day, man.
Yeah.
To me, and
Chris is a really good guy too.
Chris is amazing, man. He's out of the group of people that I've met, me personally, I think Chris is one of my most favorite people. He's genuine, man. He really is.
Yep. Yeah. And that, by the way, that not that I'm biased or anything, but that red, white, and blue liquor they mix is fantastic.
It's absolutely fantastic.
And I know where it starts.
Yep. we know too. We know right where it starts.
It's love, man. It's got some Farmer Vaughn's love in it. It's got old Chris Lewis's love in it. You know what I'm saying? You can tell when somebody puts themselves into their product, and it shows in the end product and just the quality of it, so
Chris is a fantastic guy, and him, and I love working with Kevin up there at Seven Brothers. You got to get him on. He's a really good guy.
We're definitely going to have to go there when we go up and see Fred up at Lake.
And Fred, he doesn't. I've not sold him a damn pound yet, but he's a great guy too. I love that guy. He's very good.
And get some grain off Vaughn, Fred.
he could give you an earful on Ohio distilling distribution as well.
Yeah. So will you be at Farm to Bottle this year? Will you be able to make that?
Yeah, I should be. When's the dates? It's in September again?
Well, I think it's the 19th through the 22nd.
Yeah.
When is it?
19th through the 22nd, or 19th and 20th. I don't know why I keep saying it. 19th and 20th.
I'll be there. All
righty.
Nice.
It was a good time last year. So you might have to change the venue, but I guess we'll figure it out.
Change the venue? It won't be at the fairgrounds?
Maybe
it's
not.
Kind of up in the air. Yeah, if he keeps what Dan was saying, if he keeps the same date, he'll have to change the venue because the fairgrounds signed somebody else for that same date. But if he changes the date, he can have it at the fairgrounds. So I think last time we talked to Dan, he's not for sure yet, but he's working on it.
He's probably just going to change the date to the weekend after. So you never know.
I will say that last year was much better than the year before.
Absolutely. And I think this year will be even better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think you just, once you start something, you got to just keep it going. You got to be patient and work it out. But he clearly did a much better job the second year than the first. I'm going to give him a ton of credit on that.
Right.
Yeah.
It was much
I ain't got
better.
any complaints about the first year, but you're right. Second year was even better.
I didn't have any complaints about the first year because it's fucking blasted all weekend. And so I had a good time with that.
Yeah, I would say from a business standpoint, the second year was far better than the first.
It was a lot better. We made a little money the second year. First year, it was just you just spent money all weekend. Like you was partying all weekend because there wasn't nothing else to do.
I just think he was kind of like feeling it out and whatever. But
he learned a lot, and it was definitely a much better showing the second year. So
I agree. So once again, you guys got to come up June 20th through the 22nd.
We'll be there.
We'll be there.
I believe Beattyville's the weekend before, so I'll be down in Beattyville, Kentucky for the Bourbon Moonshine Festival for old Donnie and Teresa the weekend before, and then the weekend after we'll be up for we'll be up for your festival.
Absolutely.
So.
I'll be off that weekend, so I'll be up for sure. Yep, absolutely.
Come on up. We'll make sure we get your popcorn there for you, Joey.
Yes, sir. The wife's she's getting low.
You got to get a taco truck to get him up there, though.
So here's what we have so far. We got the brewery coming with beer. We got a lobster truck coming.
Nice.
Yeah. We've got a honey goat. We got coffee. We got the lobster. We got baked goods. We got us, which is the best, obviously.
Absolutely.
And I got to work on like a Mexican type of truck. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I got to
taco bar. We need a taco bar.
Yeah,
there you go. Well, we look forward to coming up, Vaughn.
See what I can do.
Can't wait. So,
all right.
If y'all in the area in June, make sure you come by. Thanks a lot, Vaughn, for giving us your Monday night. Have a safe trip in the morning.
Absolutely.
And like I said,
yeah.
See you in a couple months, 3 months, about 3 months.
Yep.
Yes, sir. All right, we'll see you then.
Hey, have a great night. I really appreciate your time, guys.
Hey, we appreciate you.
Appreciate your time.
Keep doing what you're doing. Everybody have a good night. Y'all shine on.